to break down your nutrition a little bit, because obviously when you get to 306 pounds, you're not doing that necessarily due to lack of exercise. You're eating things and you're not moving. And it's a combination of factors. And the running and doing our Apex 10 workout, that metabolic resistance workout in the FitFollower 30X program, are factors, but you obviously changed your nutrition in a tremendous way, both in your resolve not to eat things like the candies, but you also added good stuff in. What worked for you with your nutrition? What kind of routine did you establish that you were able to be consistent with after years of having habits that were keeping you at a heavy weight?
Number one is that it's simple. It's not a gimmick. I don't have to give up bread. I don't have to give, part of it was just the meal plan. I've always told people just made sense. And when I went to my doctors and they saw the change, they asked what I did. And I told them, they were so excited that I wasn't doing the latest fad. It was something that could be kept up. So that was very good. So number one, it was simple. It made sense. I wasn't having to eat things that I couldn't stand, or whatever. And my wife wanted me to be successful. And since I was gone most of the day, she did most of the preparing. But I would get my breakfast, the shake or whatever, and then take my lunch with me. And then when I came home, she either prepared something or I went out to the grill, and chicken's my thing. I'm okay with chicken almost every night. I don't care for fish, so that's not really an option for me. The occasional beef, whatever. But so we just varied it up, but kept it simple. We didn't make fancy meals because that's just not us for the most part. And kept it simple and just had everything on hand, ready to go, knowing what we were doing. And I know
so you found some go-to meals and some go-to foods for you at evenings. It seems like grilling some kind of chicken. What'd you throw on the side? Vegetables, rice. What do your plates look like as you're losing weight?
Yeah, we were pretty common with sweet potatoes for the carb, but I love rice, so some brown rice was always good, and we had that pretty regularly. Really, those were the two that we switched back and forth from most. Quinoa, we added quinoa back when I thought it was quinoa, so found out how to pronounce it and prepare it, and it wasn't so bad. I liked that. Then vegetables, we asparagus, broccoli, salad were probably our biggest ones. Sometimes squash, zucchini, stuff like that. Yeah, and then just
in the breakfast, you mentioned shakes for breakfast, and this is something that we've been recording new episodes on, the importance of regimenting your nutrition to get like a consistent routine, so you don't have to think about it. And one things our most successful members use these morning shakes because they're simple, they're easy. You throw the stuff in the blender, and it tastes great and it keeps you full. Talk to us about that, because that was probably a big change. I imagine you weren't making shakes beforehand in the morning, but you started doing it when you joined Fit Father. Tell us about that.
I was one of those people that never ate breakfast unless I was out to a restaurant or on a trip or something like that. I didn't eat breakfast. But once I started eating in the day, I never stopped eating, and eating all the wrong stuff. So when the program called for eating breakfast, I know breakfast is the most important meal of the day, if whatever. I've heard all that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, I need to take this seriously. I don't remember if we started right out with shakes or if we started with eggs, or whatever, but I got to it. And when we say shakes, I'm not talking about a prepackaged shake that you buy anywhere. We make our own shakes, and that's part of the plan that Anthony has put together. And so we bought protein powder, included the rest of the ingredients for the shake, and made that every day. And you get to the point where you look forward to it. It's like, it's what breaks your overnight fast, and it's tasty. And there's different options for it. It doesn't always have to be the same one. I love cinnamon, so cinnamon shakes are pretty much my go-to.
So generally speaking, what are you throwing in your shakes? Because I know, because I helped design these shakes, or we call them smoothies, I guess you could say. But for people who are listening, we have our Fit Father Super Fuel protein that is a good use as a base. So it's protein powder plus vitamins, minerals, probiotics. What else are you throwing in your morning smoothie?
Sure. I use almond milk to avoid the dairy. Almond milk, the protein powder. We started out with a generic protein powder just to keep it cheap and simple, but once you created super fuel, I tried that and it was so much better that I still buy that every month, you know. So that's the protein powder, and then we use chia seeds and
Mhm.
cacao,
Mhm.
spinach, some
Mhm.
kind of, either I use monk fruit to sweeten it up a little bit. I know liquid
Mhm.
stevia is also approved or whatever, encouraged. And then you can add water and milk. I add a little bit, water or ice. I add a little bit of ice to make it a little bit thicker. I don't like adding the water because it dilutes the flavor for me. And
Mhm.
if I'm gonna have something that every day, I want it to be good. So I really like the flavor, and so I kind of keep it pretty much to where it is. And then, like I said, for me, I add cinnamon. Sometimes I switch it up and add some mint or coffee,
Nice.
just different things.
So you dialed in this shake and it's consistent. And I want to highlight something is you are a guy who is not eating breakfast, which is not necessarily a problem if your nutrition's good later in the day, right?
Right.
Because one of our meal timing schedule setups we recommend is intermittent fasting. Like some guys, it is fine to skip that first meal and push it back, but you were in a trap. It seems like that you were not eating breakfast, but then you were just loading up with crap later in the day because your body was hungry, your blood sugar wasn't right, you didn't have a good structure routine. So for you, this seemed like a good crux. The way you started your day kind of gave you this momentum and structure that you carried on throughout the day.
Yeah, you don't get to 300 pounds by just eating 2 meals a day that are good. You get there by
Hmm.
when you start eating. Like, generally, probably the first thing I would eat, unless I had something laying around my office, was lunch, and was almost always fast food. Or if we went to a different kind of restaurant, I still got something that was not good for you. It was fat laden and whatever. And then I'm I'm a sugar addict. There's just no two ways about it. I just am. I love cake. I love donuts. I love certain candies. Chocolate sometimes it's not my big thing, but it is. So that um, potato chips or ice cream at night. I gave up
Hmm.
Coca-Cola a few years before I started the plan, so I was already pretty much drinking water, but it would have only been 2 or 3 glasses a day. Nothing that would have
Hmm.
sustained me um, for the long. I mean, I still got dehydrated. So I was eating junk once I started the day, and then switching
Hmm.
over to begin with the shake, and then preparing my lunch and waiting till supper to eat. And again, somehow or another, I found the intestinal fortitude to not snack at night.